Hello, today we're going to be taking a deeper look at the Future Ready Schools framework. My name is Ashley Craig and I'm a student at LSU. We're going to start by explaining what the FRS is, looking at some of the best practices that are recommended by the organization who made it, and taking a look at some real world implications and solutions to address those. Created by the All for Ed organization, the Future Ready Schools Framework, or FRS, is a structure for education leaders to use for, quote, visioning, planning, and implementation of digital learning. What is important about it is that the framework, as you can see from All for Ed's infographic, is student centered. All for Ed calls the seven major components of the Future Ready Schools framework, it's seven gears. And all of them are built to really feature collaboration and innovation. So it starts with curriculum instruction and assessment. In that gear, future ready students demonstrate real world career skills. We advance this gear through access to connectivity and devices, which enables educators and students alike to assess skill mastery progress. The ability to slice and dice data in an instant has enabled educators to target instruction as well as intervention and extension based on real time student performance data. In the next gear, personalized professional learning, there must be a diverse offering of professional development opportunities that enables faculty of varying skill levels and opportunity for growth. If we want future ready students, that starts with future ready educators. The reality is that we aren't talking about the future anymore. This is the present. And so, one emphasis in this section was on peer to peer interaction in the learning environment, which really is crucial to learning. The next gear is budget and resources. The basis of budget planning and decisions about resource spending must always remain balancing the budget with the student needs and how we will provide them with optimal learning opportunities and environments. The next gear of the FRS is community partnerships. We are building our community in an online capacity, and that means that our community and family engagement must happen in the digital space as well as real life. On top of that, implementing digital citizenship curriculum at the district and campus levels will contribute to the development of a supportive online culture, which, if I'm being honest, is half the battle. The next gear of the FRS is data and privacy. The greatest benefit of leveraging technology in the K through 12 classroom is the ability to slice and dice data to guide instructional planning and maximize learning. In doing that, and with all of the data collection, of course, one of the top priorities is maintaining FERPA standards to protect the privacy of our students. But when we take data a step further and give the students access as well, we give them a chance to take ownership of their education and better understand their own opportunities for growth. In the next gear of the future schools framework, in the focus on student centered vision, planning, and implementation, it's crucial that there's a robust infrastructure uh, to provide access to resources. This includes one to one devices and internet connectivity. Many school districts are able to provide hotspots to homes without internet, but this is not currently a possibility everywhere. In the next gear, the seventh, the use of time and space. Technology expands the learning environment from the physical classroom to anytime, anywhere. Educators can make course content available to students and families at all times, providing transparency and accountability for both students and teachers. And encircling all of those 7 gears of the Future Ready Schools framework is collaborative leadership. And the emphasis there truly is on collaboration in a variety of directions. It involves the leadership of the district, it involves the educators who are in the classrooms, and the families at home. From the All for Ed website, there are links to numerous additional resources, case studies, best practices, and recommendations. Before I dipped into those best practices, I started by jotting down some of the challenges that I'm currently facing in my district. And then I approached the massive list of resources by looking for things that would help me to focus in on the challenges that I'm facing in the real world scenarios. So I was drawn to those that featured research and techniques for supporting English language learners. One of these links led me to the EL Education Organization, which has a detailed list of core practices for supporting English language learners at any proficiency level. In particular, the standards directly articulated as best practices the very items I identified as current challenges in my district. Assessing language skills, assessing literacy skills levels, and providing student resources. There were 3 standards in the Core Practice 20 that stood out to me in particular. A5B, the EL educators must be given appropriate planning time to provide effective support, which I realize sounds like a common sense statement, but finding myself in the situation where I have zero resources and I have students right in front of me who do not speak any English, I feel that urgency to develop something or have something for them. And sometimes I truly just don't have time to do more. And so that particular standard really stood out. The next one was B1C. On this, multiple assessment methods is essential to understanding the holistic student needs. And this is especially true with English language learners, um, because on top of the fact that, not all students are good test takers, there's the added on layers of different types of tests, maybe not translating as well as we might think they do. So there's a lot there, but having that variety helps us to really understand the whole student and what they need help with versus the fact that they were having a rough day and didn't do well on one particular multiple choice quiz. And the third one that really stood out to me was, well, actually, it's two of them. It's C4 and C5. Language acquisition really is reciprocal, and educators need to model that by trying and making mistakes in learning bits of their own students' first languages. And it sounds cheesy, but this is something that I've been doing with my emergent bilingual students is they are teaching me little bits of Spanish and I'm teaching them little bits of English, and we try them out on each other, and we we laugh at ourselves when we make mistakes, and I've made it okay for them to laugh at me and my god awful Spanish, but it really has opened the door for them to branch out a little bit more. And a couple of kids have already started trying out some of our English sentence stems that I've given them, to make requests or to ask about something that's going on in the room. And that's all I can hope for, right? Is that they feel safe and comfortable to try it out and maybe make mistakes or maybe get it right, but know that our little community right there in the room is going to support them. Um, but part of that is that technology has really helped me to be able to learn a little bit too. And no, I'm not going to try to speak Spanish in this video. Another case study that I found actually through the All for Ed website, but this one was also from the EL Education organization. This case study was titled Scaffolding Literacy Instruction for English Language Learners. And in it, an ELA teacher and a social studies teacher combined forces to co-teach a unit. I won't get into the details, but they did, and it did involve a novel that the students read. The ways that they brought their EB students deeper into the reading experience was to start by choosing compelling topics, ensuring that the kids could actually get into it. On that topic, they selected a text and then coordinating texts that increased in complexity as the students read on and gained relevant knowledge. The teachers scaffolded instructional materials, especially vocabulary, to provide EBs with an equitable means to access and interact with the text. And they also paired short nonfiction texts with the novel they were reading to help students develop deeper meaning and lasting knowledge. This particular case study really called out to me because I am an ELA teacher, um, and because this is the struggle I face right now is I want to challenge all of my students and give all of them opportunities to learn. And I'm currently, well, let's go to real world applications and we'll get into that. Um, the problem I'm facing right now is I'm in an East Texas community that has a mix of suburban and rural groups, and we have enrolled an unanticipated growth in emergent bilingual students this year. Um, so, I'll stick to the notes. The district started in the district that I've just started working there this year, but we've experienced this significant and unanticipated influx. And though we have an ESL department, there are really very few resources available internally to aid teachers in assessing reading comprehension levels as well as language acquisition and in educating these students effectively. As you can imagine, it has been an enormous challenge. Without knowledge of this framework prior, I have been doing what I can to leverage educational technology to the benefit of my EB students, but really um, I still have a lot of really glaring gaps to address. So, some possible solutions that I'm, trying to use. Summit K through 12 is one resource my district provides as a way to address the needs of our EBs. However, this is very new and we have a lot to learn. But the benefits are the interactive learning experiences for accelerated growth. And I don't want to claim I know the numbers for Summit in particular, but typically accelerated growth is a term to mean increasing more than a grade level over a certain period of time. So it is a measurable goal. It's not just a random adjective. And through Summit 12, we can monitor student learning and their skill mastery, as well as target their individual needs as that data kind of unfolds. But again, this is really new in my district. And so at this point, there's more unknowns than knowns. Quill.org is a freemium website for grammar and writing instruction that provides students with immediate and specific feedback. This is one that I've been using for years in the general education classroom. And then for my English language learners this year, it's been especially useful because Quill has EL specific diagnostics for like pre and post to measure growth. It provides a targeted exercise plan based on each individual student's results on the diagnostic, and it helps them to hone some of the skills that are especially critical to English language acquisition, and that's the to be verbs, simple, compound, complex. It's all the sentence structures and adjective order, among other skills. Those are just some of the really big ones. And then one really high impact resource that I've been using is Immersive Reader. It's created by Microsoft. It's available in a lot of different formats, but in particular, Immersive Reader is embedded in my district's LMS, Canvas. This resource is incredibly awesome. It provides content clarifiers with what's called the picture dictionary feature. My students who turn on Immersive Reader can click on a word and it will give them an image of what that word means. And this is automated. I don't actually have to go find an image for each of those words. It's just done, which is incredible. You can't ask for any better means for providing visuals. The text to speech feature in Immersive Reader uses natural sounding inflection of an English speaker. So, compared to the kids just using, I mean, there's so many different apps out there, but Snap and Read, just as one example, yes, it will read to them, but it's kind of robotic and it just reads words. Whereas Immersive Reader, they get that musicality that comes with fluent um, English speaking. And I think that's really important for them when they're trying to adapt it. And then the translation features in Immersive Reader, if you don't know about this, then hold on to your hat because you're going to be thrilled. The students, we can enable students to scaffold up from full document translation to later just using word by word. So for my kids who are beginners, they really do have the option to translate the entire story we're reading into Spanish. And then when they click on words within that story, it will show them that picture dictionary, but it also shows them the English word that goes with it. And so they can start kind of dipping their toes in. As they become more and more comfortable, they can stop translating the whole document and just turn on word by word translation so that they can start trying to read more in English. But when they get tripped up, they can click on a word and get the Spanish word for it right then with that picture. And so they can be enabling themselves, which is just incredible. I mean, the more we give kids ownership of their knowledge, the more they will take the reins and go for it. So, preaching to the choir, I know. Thank you for listening tonight. I found the Future Ready Schools framework really interesting to read. There was a lot in it that I feel like my district is already doing, and there was a lot in it that I feel like are kind of weak points for us. So I'm hoping that I can keep coming back to this and looking for ways to improve at my campus and maybe even my district, just kind of one step at a time. Have a great night.